Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My channel is all about succulents and cacti in my balcony and houseplants in an apartment setting. So if that's something that interests you, please do subscribe, hit that red subscription button there, and you won't miss any of my videos. It's the end of July. Can you believe it? It's a long summer. It's a long hot summer here in Phoenix. And I've got some plants here that really did well for me this month. Some of them because of they just grew so much during this past month, and others because just of their sheer survival in the heat. And one of them is a new one that was a trade for me, and I want to share it with you. Okay, so stay tuned and we'll get to it. Okay, so let's start off with some tropical plants. This here is my Monstera Adansonii, and you probably remember this one that I got it at Lowe's for $14.98. It was like, it had been on my wish list, and I was so astounded that I found it at Lowe's for $14.98. Well, she's grown a lot, and I'll show you some pictures here before I cut her up. And she had a lot of long trails on her, 5 of them to be exact. So I cut them off, and they were so long that I was able to cut them in half, and I have them here in this glass, and they will be propagated there. Once they're ready to be, once they're rooted, I'm going to plant them back into the pot and fill that pot up some more. I do have another one that came off of her. This propagation here is actually of one that fell off. It had one leaf on it. I put it in some water to propagate it, and once it rooted, I put it in this little nursery container, and look at that. Look how much it's growing. This has just been in a month. It's amazing how much this plant grows. Eventually, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this one back in here. I may give it to someone. I'll probably give it to Kristen maybe, or my daughter-in-law. So but this is beautiful. This is such an easy plant to take care of. This one, the mother plant, the main plant, is hanging here in my east-facing balcony window, the big door, and it loves it there. It gets very high indirect light rather, and it seems to be doing wonderful there, even with my moving the blinds back and forth and everything. It doesn't bother it at all. And it's a tough little plant actually, but it's a fast grower. I let her dry out. She's in very chunky mix. I let her dry out pretty much almost all the way. Almost all of these up here, because they're a little bit difficult to water, so I leave it until I absolutely have to water them, because I got to get the step ladder and get in there, and it's it's a bit cumbersome right now. So she dries out pretty well before I water her, but she seems to be doing okay with it. Just really growing a lot. Eventually I do want to put a moss pole in here. So once I get those cuttings propagated and planted back in here, we'll see. I may let her hang for a little while longer, but I think eventually I do want to put a moss pole in there and put her in a nice pot and let the leaves and the tendrils grow up. Okay, so that is my Monstera Adansonii. Let's make a little room here. Next one, you've probably seen this one. This is my Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma Terri. I don't name any of my plants really, but this one just, I just love her so much, and so I named her Terri. I just off of Tetrasperma, I guess. So I got this one. This is one of those bargains that you get and you're like, oh, I got it for $20, Plant Stand of Arizona, and in a 6-inch pot. It has grown so much, friends. It's unbelievable. It's grown a good foot in the couple of months that I've had it. And let me see if I can show you here. This is the latest leaf right here. Still very tender and soft, not even fully grown and not even the full color it's supposed to be. But look, already it's giving off a new one. I mean, no sooner than one opens up, it's barely open, and it's giving off another one. I've wrapped it around the moss pole, and I'll link above here the video of my creating the moss pole and planting this Tetrasperma into this pot with this moss pole. So I've wound her around this moss pole just to try and take up some of the moss pole. I'm gonna have to put an extension on here because already, even with my winding it around, it's past the moss pole. So that's another project that I'll need to do. But she's in a ceramic pot, really pretty blue. I think I got this at TJ Maxx. This is one of those clearance ones, and it's doing well in this. I let the top about 3 inches dry out. Again, a very chunky mix of I believe this one is my own mix. This one was the cocoa coir, the orchid bark, perlite, and worm castings, and that's really it. I have not fertilized this one because of I had put the worm castings in there, and it didn't seem like it really needed to be fertilized, to be honest with you, because it's growing so well. So I haven't fertilized this one this growing season. I didn't think it needed, but I water it when the top 3 inches are dry. I wet down the moss pole for it just by, pouring water on it. It's got some aerial roots that it's growing down at the bottom there, and it looks like they're looking for some soil. So it's doing beautifully. It really is. I'm just so happy with it. Again, I would recommend this for a beginner. It's so easy to grow, and I'm so happy that they're starting to become more accessible to people. It used to be that this was the plant that you just couldn't find, and it was so expensive, and that's the whole supply and demand system. More of these available, the price does come down, and so that's wonderful. This is just one plant that I was loving this July, my Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma. Terri. Okay. Before we go outside, or show you the plants from outside, let me share with you one plant that I got in a recent trade. Many of you probably already know Emily from Succulent Greenhouse. I'll leave a link to her channel below. Such a lovely young lady. She has some incredible succulents and does some incredible arrangements in South Florida. And really just, I don't know how she keeps them all looking as wonderful living in South Florida and the rain and everything. But her and I did a trade. And one of the plants that she sent me was this beautiful Sansevieria snake plant, bird's nest version. And I did look this up, and it's Forest Star is the name of this one. And it looks a lot like a Zeylanica and a bird's nest version. You see the pattern on there? That could be a Zeylanica. But from what I found online, at least, it's Hahnii Forest Star, and it's so pretty. This is the 3rd bird's nest that I have, and I'm really loving them because they're so compact. Well, first of all, they're striking, okay? But they're compact, and you can put them just anywhere, on a desktop, on a tabletop, nightstand, wherever. I have 3 right all on my entryway table, which is not a big table by any means. And all 3 of them are happy right there for the time being. So thank you, Emily. I'm so happy with this one. She also sent me some trailing jade that I have in some water to grow the roots just a little bit more. So I'm happy to have gotten that one. But this is the Sansevieria Hahnii Forest Star. Beautiful, beautiful snake plant. Okay. So, let's talk about some plants from outside. And let me tell you a little story first. It has been really hot here in Phoenix. The month of July has just been a hot one. We have had, well, even this week we're in an excessive heat warning, which means, you know, you have to be super careful and of what you do outside, drink lots of water, because they issue those anytime that the temperature is above 110. The high for that day is above 110. So we're on that this week. And a couple weeks ago we were on it. And a couple weeks ago I had gotten sick. I thought I had the COVID, but I didn't. I tested negative. But I'm fine now. And but during that time I was kind of bedbound and I didn't get out to my balcony, and although my plants were shaded from direct sun, it was just so hot. Just the air temperature itself, some of my more tender plants just didn't make it. My string of dolphins, fried. My burrow's tail, pretty much fried. I'm trying to save it. I've got little nubs left. And a jade plant, small jade plant, fried. I'm trying to save it. I don't know if it'll make it. So, you know, I was really so upset with myself that I didn't think to bring those in. I did bring my string of bananas. Miraculously, that thing is like, you know, cast iron. It survived, and I have it inside now. And I brought in any other ones that may be very sensitive. But there were some out there that really held up to the challenge of that heat. They were under canopies or umbrellas. My aloes, haworthias, euphorbias, some of the cacti were morning sun and they did fine. But I have a couple here that really did incredibly well. This is a little guy. This is a Haworthia Lamiflora. And I've heard it referred to as fairy's washboard, because you see the ridges on there, and it could be a washboard. This is an extremely slow grower. I have had this main plant right here for going on 3 years, and it's just giving off these pups. Okay, so this is a very slow grower. Haworthias are wonderful to have inside, friends. If you're looking for succulents to have inside, and that don't need a lot of water and don't need a lot of fussing, Haworthias are the way to go. But this one is under a umbrella along with the other aloes and Haworthias there. Have them all together. And it did fine. There's no burn on it. If anything, it's growing all these little pups on it. This would be wonderful too in a little terrarium, fairy garden, anything like that, because it's such a slow grower. It won't outgrow the space or the pot or anything like that. I've had it in this little ceramic pot for, I think this one, a couple of years. And I just love it. So this is Haworthia Lamiflora. Lamiflora. I'll put it on the screen here. And it's just wonderful. So definitely one I recommend. Now, I mentioned that I have also out there some aloes, and all of my aloes are doing wonderful right now. And let me know down in the comments below, friends, if you want me to do an updated aloe collection. I did one a couple years back, but I know I have more now. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you're interested in. Oh, but this one here is my aloe Crosby's Prolific, and it has been in this pot, terracotta pot, for 2.5 years now. I've had it. It was very compact when I got it. I couldn't even get my fingers in here to take out any dead leaves or anything, but it has since really started to grow up. I cleaned her up just before and gave it a good watering. But I will be finally separating this. I have not separated this one since I got it. and it's got tons of pups. I would say at least 6, 7 pups in here that can be separated out. This is the main plant right here. And this aloe, Crosby's prolific, it's pokey. Okay, if you don't like pokies, this may not be the one for you, because when you're taking the dead leaves off, I would recommend using tweezers or something, because you will get scratched from the side. But it is very durable. It can take some direct sun. It has taken morning sun in the summertime, which here in Phoenix, you know, can be harsh in itself, and done fine. I water it in the summertime right now about once a week, especially in this terracotta pot. It will dry out quickly. But in the winter time, I leave it outside also. Well, we have a very mild winter here, but I leave it outside also, and probably about every 14 to 20 days or so I'll water it, and depending also on the amount of rain that we get. But I do watch that too. If we get a lot of rain, then I will cover it under the umbrella and protect it from the rain, because the one thing that will make your aloe die is overwatering. So you need to be careful not to overwater yourself, but be mindful of the rainfall too, because if it's raining for 3 or 4 days straight and this is getting water every day for 3 or 4 days, it's not going to be happy at all. So I do protect it from that also. But this Crosby's prolific is just beautiful. It did flower for me. You know, the aloes give off the long stem, and they have like little bell-shaped petals on them, or flowers rather, that I believe this one was orange. They can be orange, yellow. I had a few aloes flower this year, but I love this one. It's just beautiful. So there you have it, friends. Those are the plants that did really well for me this month of July. Some of them just because they grew so much and did beautifully, but others just because they hung in there and are surviving this Phoenix summer. And you know, I have some sadness for all the plants that I lost, my succulents, tender succulents, but it's a lesson learned for me. You know, I was sick, I probably, you know, couldn't avoid it, but I will start over with those. I will find another string of dolphins and another jade and another burrow's tail, so I'm not worried about that. I felt bad, you know, for the plant. I don't like to see any plant, you know, die, especially in that way, being fried like that. So, so if you enjoyed this video, friends, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye. And Rosie says bye too. Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Rosie.